And there's the lake. Now, I think I'm gonna go straight ahead, edge my way in that little corner, and then from there figure out whether I'm gonna go left or right. You can see it's a beautiful lake. This time of year there'll be brook trout stacked up in that inlet, but they're spawning, so you know, I leave them alone. Originally I was going to go up to Helen Lake, which is up there, and that should have, I guess that's going to have to be next year. That should have rainbows. Looks like I'm going to have to go left. Well, I probably should go left, but I'm just going to go down. I want to avoid all that scrub. Lucky I can beat the shadow to the lake. As long as I've got sun on the water, that's to my advantage. I'll be able to spot fish. Once that shadow comes, it's going to make it more difficult for me. This is a good place to fish dries. I'm not going to fish dries today because it's 4:15. I really don't have time to mess around. So I'm going to continue fishing the nymphs, continue with the sight fishing. There are a lot of undercut banks on this lake, and the big fish will hang out underneath those undercuts, so it pays to cast to the undercut ahead of you before you actually go there to fish. Because if you know, even if he doesn't see you, if you're right on top of him, the vibrations will spook him. It's going to be somewhat of a challenge knowing that the fish are going to be hugging up real close to the bank. I've got this fly rod case that's going to, you know, it's going to cast a shadow before my head does. The other thing about this lake is it's got tons of weed beds. And so if you don't see any fish cruising, it pays to fish the weed beds. So I'm not seeing any fish. I've done a little prospecting, no interest. The sun has gone down, so don't have to worry about my shadow being on the water, but I also can't see the fish. And for all I know, they could all be up in that creek. Oh, there's a tiny one there. And usually there's a nice fish sitting around here somewhere. But since I'm not spooking any and I'm not seeing any, I'll do a fan casting here, see if that generates any interest. Well, I've walked the bank, seen one tiny fish, made about a dozen casts. There was a tiny fish there. Not seeing anything like what I'm used to seeing. So I'm going to go over to the inlet, make some casts, and then hurry my way out. You can see the sun has gone down and it is cold. There's a fish I just spooked. Still a small one though. So I got one strike in here. Oh, there's another one. There we go. And it's a tiny brook trout. Where am I going to land this guy? Shoot. Bring him over here. Well, that's a little bit better fish though. That must not fall in there, Jimmy boy. Yeah, that's a better fish. Man, these lakes are frigid. They've got natural springs, I believe, and that's what keeps the creeks flowing year round. But they're super cold. Oh, there's a fish rising out there. Just slight inlet here, and there have been fish rising over here. Well, I don't know if this fish is any bigger, but it is stronger, that's for sure. It's actually pretty tiny. That was such an aggressive take. It's a brown trout, that's why. Nice little brownie. Look at that. Hot diggity dog. It's 5 o'clock, and I think I'm going to make these my last few casts. I am making quite a disturbance on the water. There we go. There we go. Oh, that was a good fish. Bummer. Okay, so I'm gonna call it. I've got about an hour and a half left of light and a 2-hour hike. So I'm gonna try to get on the trail and make some good time. Really happy to have been able to catch fish in each of the 3 lakes that I've visited today. Bingaman was a surprise. I was really hoping that there were still rainbows there, but it makes sense that there weren't. I hope you enjoyed this edition of my High Country Video Chronicles. Thanks for coming along.